And laughter only. Hey, welcome to On the Chain. This is Jeff here with co-host Chip back in the studio tonight, fired up. Man, the whole crypto market has been crazy over the past couple of days. It's exciting to see. It's exciting to see and experience the energy back in the crypto community as well, Chip. And tonight we're going to really get into a lot of different topics. One of them, there's some new projects, some new things that are rolling out, new rails within the Ripple space, utilizing XRP Ledger. We need to dig a little bit more into those topics, Chip. There's some great tweets from some community members in and around the crypto space. And we're starting to see pro crypto lawmakers in Congress, getting off their ass and actually looking at that infrastructure bill and saying, hey, you know what? The way they put this whole thing with crypto doesn't belong there. We need to take a look at it. So, man, I'll tell you what, tonight's great, and I'm looking forward to it. You ready to kick this thing off?
Let's get this puppy started.
All right.
Welcome to On the Chain.
Whoa, welcome back.
Hey,
man. It's good to be here. I don't have the beautiful scenery, but I can actually see I'm not getting bit by bugs. And I've got a lemon tree once again right over here. So,
not as cool as my lemon tree, though. But anyway, let's go.
It looks like you got an extra lemon growing on your lemon tree.
Yeah, I do.
I've got a whole bunch. Would you say that I have a plethora of lemons on my lemon tree?
But you can't see what's behind that lemon tree. Lemons.
No, but you can see my plethora. Right now, you are presenting a dearth of lemons. Okay. So, hey, Chip. Chip, today, our show here tonight brought to you by permission.io. And you guys know every time you go online, you run into all these pesky ads from all these big companies like Google and Facebook and others. And really, you have no way to control your data, no way to even monetize your data. They're monetizing your data for you, and they're keeping every bit of that monetization, which is good for them, not so great for you. But check this out. With permission.io, they created this situation where you can download this really nice browser extension and allows you to actually take control of your data and be able to monetize, watching a video, everything you do normally. Every so often, Permission will reach out and they'll put a little engagement up, say, hey, you want to watch this video? You say yes, you watch the video, you get to earn the ask token, the ASK token, which is really cool. You get to hodl it long-term, short-term. You can buy stuff with it. It's a really great way to get engaged in the crypto space and a really great way to start earning by doing what you're already doing and watching some ads. So I think permission.io is pretty cool. Check it out. It's also, there's a link to it right down below in our description. And if you do decide to download that and you engage with it, OTC actually on the chain gets a little bit of ask as well. So that helps.
Yep. And then, I'll share the, there we go. Look at it. So there's right there. So I dropped the custom page in there, guys. Click on that link, send it to your friends, tweet about that link right there, because it's the easiest way to earn crypto. You're not spending anything. You're spending your personal capital, which other people are monetizing off your back. But anyway, you come to the snazzy permission.io on the chain page, and you also get an extra bonus 100 asks there. And like Jeff said, it does help us too, because we also earn additional asks. So guys, tweet that out and say, hey, a little bit on the edge about crypto, try this. Takes you 5 minutes to set up, and then you're earning. And then, it's kind of like the entryway point to get associated with it. So that's pretty cool.
Hey, Chip, I also want to give a big shout out to Hands Loaded, because Hands Loaded has been a phenomenal supporter, and really appreciate him as a mod for On the Chain and doing just a phenomenal job. So thank you for that. And I also want to just remind people, as you're coming in, if you want to support On the Chain, I was just watching another video by another YouTuber, different space, and he has like 1 million plus subscribers, and he said there's only about 100,000 that are that have the bell notifier clicked, meaning 1% of his following is getting a notification every time a video goes live. And it was great that he's making that video, because he said, hey, if you really want to support the channel, go and click that bell notifier, because it really does help. It gets more people to know every time you go live. So I just want to throw that out there now, Chip.
Yeah, we have like 20-some%. So anyway, guys, let's just jump right into this really good news Thank you for that. Boom, hit that bell notifier. It does make a huge difference. But Jeff, you kind of teased it a little bit in the beginning. But, sometimes we lose sight of some of the rails that are being built, especially some of the ginormous rails that are being built. And I think it's something we should probably just jump into because, again, it's really exciting to, I want to go ahead and let me throw this up here. And let's pop into this right here. Oh, it would be great time for my
Perfect.
mouse. Yeah, so hang on. No, you know what it is? It's like my mouse is...
Got that article over here too. What do you know?
Yeah, my mouse just died or something. So hang on a second. That's no problem.
There you go.
Yeah, so right here. So let's talk a little bit about this. But before we do, what in the heck is going on?
What's going on with you over there?
Nah, my, you gotta, I don't know. I have no clue, dude. I have no clue. So I want to talk about this. The Lulu Exchange provides unflinching support to Indian diaspora in the Middle East. Increasingly interconnected world, freedom means to have equitable access to the best things in life. For the world's expat workers, many of whom are separated from their families, this is a reason for the happiness of loved ones. It's an expression of freedom. So digital payment solutions that allow those instant and affordable, get it? Instant, affordable. What are we talking about here, Jeff? Money transfer now made it. We're not. Oh, you're right. We're not. This has nothing to do with Bitcoin. I want to just remove that for 1 second because I want to go ahead and throw this other one up here because we're going to go ahead and dissect this a little bit. But yeah, here we go. There we go. So no, it's not Bitcoin at all. Technology-enabled payment solutions that are seamless, convenient, help bridge families and economies. Sometimes we lose track of what this means. You go like, oh, it's great technology. It's 3 or 4 seconds. It's end-to-end. It's, full remittance on both sides. Got, on-demand liquidity. It's like a lot of buzzwords. What really, what this really gets to the heart of, you got expats, people move out. They're trying to feed their family back home. They got to send them money and they just take a big wallop. And they end up taking this massive hit just trying to send money to their families and send money home or move it to their home country. And this is really when we talk about solving a problem, this is the real problem. This is the human condition and humans that are being affected, not like some airy-fairy little, buzzwords like, oh, it does this and it moves that. No, Jeff, I mean, this is the big deal, right?
I like it. I'm liking it. And it's really cool. I'm looking over here, the fact, one of the things that you're singling out, and obviously there are, many foreign workers in the UAE throughout the region. I know when I was over in Dubai, I saw, quite a few, workers from India, Pakistan, Africa, pretty much all over. You don't see many of the indigenous, population working in a lot of the, more business centric touristy areas, especially in the service industries, but in construction industries. But this is exactly what you're referencing. So, looking at this article here, you look at the Lulu Money app supporting the needs of those Indians that are, in the diaspora in the UAE. And it's important and it highlights it here, contributing to the economic growth of both countries. On one side, the UAE has workers. On the other side, these workers are able to send money back home to wherever they're from, in this case, India, to help feed their families. And so, really real big deal.
Yeah, and it says, Lulu's Exchange, they have this extensive network, 83 branches, and with their digital solution, and obviously you said the Money app is what's really making it possible. So the cross-border payment services are really what they're doing is help prioritizing consumers' needs to get these near real-time transactions. The other thing it handles too is the FX rates, the best exchange rates. So that's another thing. By the time it gets there, it could be worth even less on top of the fee that needs to be paid. So talks about the UAE over the years being a really good friend of India, welcomed Indians to set their home here. Countries founded several key initiates to help address the payment needs of all Indians. And then it says on India's, and this is obviously from India, this is the Khaliji Times, this article is from, on India's 75th Independence Day, we at Lulu Exchange convey our warmest to Indians across the world and reaffirm our commitment to design the world's most reliable and seamless access financial journeys. And then let's look over here for a second. Lulu Exchange, this is off of the Ripple site right here. Lulu Exchange and Federal Bank enhance cross-border payments experience into India with RippleNet. So this is sort of backing up exactly what we were just taking a look at. They say all the nice words, and this is kind of how it works. You get in a car, you turn it on, you press the button, the car starts up, you start driving it. You don't care how it works, Jeff. Do we care how a car works? I mean, you get on a plane, it's just like gets you from point A to point B. You know, it has something to do with the engines and the wings, and it gets you off the ground, but you don't have to know how it works. The human impact of this is massive.
It really is, Chip. But you want to have some semblance of an idea of the engagement. You don't need to know the back end, how the software is interacting with the hardware that you're using in the bank. You just have to know, here's the platform, here's what we're using, and it works. That's for the most part. Right. And
there's 3.5 million people in the United Arab Emirates. It's the largest population of Indian migrants globally. Think about that. Top source of remittances for India, recognized as a leader to cross-border payments, is one of the biggest remittance corridors in the world. That is the Lulu Exchange, leading Abu Dhabi-based financial services partnered with leading Indian private sector financial institution, Federal Bank. So again, you know, it's like this stuff is going on really almost like on a daily, an hourly basis. And every once in a while, we're happy to cover it, hit this news as we're talking about other things. But that's where you don't want to lose sight. If you think this is easy to do, it's the software that makes the magic. It's the partnerships that make it real. And that's really what the leg up that, you know, I see Ripple really having is the amazing, you know, partnerships that they have in place. And yeah, there's other stuff out there. There's other competition, yes, but it's the software, it's the on-demand liquidity, it's paired together that makes the wheel turn. And then in this case right here, you know, this is just amazing. It says our longstanding association with Ripple opened plenty of avenues for us to solidify our presence in existing and new corridors. Latest partnership is a step forward. So this funny thing about this article, Jeff, and I'll throw it back up here, but this one just came out, I believe, in February.
Yeah.
So the partner was announced. Now, I don't know when the actual partnership happened, but the partnership was announced between Lulu Exchange and Federal Bank in February, and now we're starting to see news reflect that in way of, you know, stories like reliable payments. This headline right here, reliable payments partner, and that came out on the 15th of August.
Yeah,
so
I like to see that, Chip. And one of the other components of this that I think is really important is the onboarding process. You know, the implementation process. And in the beginning, if you look at how the RippleNet solution worked, you know, it was mostly hardware driven. You know, now if you look at this, we're talking their rollout here is through the RippleNet cloud. You know, so the hardware implementation and onboarding process is now minimal when they rolled out the RippleNet cloud. And I believe, you know, that just makes the engagement that much, you know, easier, that much more seamless. I think it's interesting too, you know, pointing out here through RippleNet cloud, cross-border transactions into India, you know, made through Lulu's 76 branches in the UAE. So obviously it's really prevalent in the UAE, this platform, utilizing RippleNet. And it's even more interesting that this is tying back to a country that has had, you know, kind of spotty support in terms of government, you know, regarding the cryptocurrency space. There's so much. We think it's bad in the US with the uncertainty. Over there, it's you know, it's on and then it's off. It's on and then it's off. And so it gets a little bit, you know, disconcerting and confusing. One thing that they had said in India early on, you know, a number of years ago, was that, you know, they have trouble with the crypto aspect of the blockchain, but they like the blockchain technology. And I remember thinking back then, I'm like, well, how is India going to pull this one off? You know, when so much of the blockchain technology is revolving around having a crypto presence. You know, there has to be a, you know, an asset component. Doesn't have to be, but there is. And that's what is really allowing for most of the, the engagement within the space, in terms of transactional engagement, as well as reliability, and everything else that's involved within the process. And with every transaction, there's a buy and not a buy and sell, but there's a payment involved in the process,
Exactly.
which is critical, I think, to the overall success and well-being, to make it decentralized, to have that DeFi, understanding, which I don't know that was 100% clear a number of years ago, but it's becoming more clear now. It is exciting. It's exciting that they're talking about it once again and bringing this up.
Yeah, it is. Charles Howells, thank you for that support. Really appreciate it. And so I wanted to read this one kind of pull quote here. And just right here, this is from, it says, disruptive technology innovation is the mantra at Federal Bank, and the bank continuously invests in technology, which benefits all of our partnerships, including the remittance industry partners. We believe such innovations will benefit the larger Indian diaspora, who can then enjoy a modern, low-cost, fast, easy, more reliable way of transferring money to India. Said the senior vice president and county head of deposits, cards, and unsecured lending at Federal Bank. And that's the key thing right there. It's like, so time and time we keep hearing that the banks themselves want to be able to provide that, because a lot of people out there are like, well, the banks make a lot of fees, the banks do this, the banks that. Yeah, but ultimately, the more they can capture a lot of the business and do it in a fast, easy way, that's really what they want to do. They really want to serve people, especially in a scenario like this. Here we've got, Nilafur Milan Firoze. He's saying that disruptive technology innovation is their mantra. And so that's exactly what it is. It's still disruptive, because the other way costs a lot of money. If you use one of those money senders, they take a big chunk. I think the average is anywhere like 6 to 7% versus a few drops. Now, the bank itself may tack something on that, but it's considerably less. The other thing that they're handling here, Jeff, is the whole effects issue here, right? Because you're going back to India, you got the rupee, and that is fluctuating all the time. So getting it there fast is half of the battle, right? Waiting and having something, over a period of time, we could see that trend down, and all of a sudden you get hit with the big fee on top of the effects, thing. It becomes it's problematic.
Definitely problematic.
So anyway, that's good stuff, man. It's good stuff to highlight here. And it's like, this stuff's going on all the time, because you got to think about this. There's 400 plus, probably trending at 450, somewhere in that neighborhood of Ripple partners, but we don't even know most of them. I don't think we know 50 or 60 of them. I mean, they've dripped out here and there. A lot of them, it's been said that when they're ready, Ripple will come out and put one of these blog posts. It'll get covered in the news, but it's when it's their partner, because obviously they sign NDAs. They're not supposed to say anything about it until the partner wants to get it out there. So this was released back in February, but we're starting to see the trickle effects of this in production in real life, in IRL, as they say. In real life, it's happening, and it's changing lives and making it a lot better. And especially 3.5 million Indians living abroad is just, it's pretty, in the UAE, pretty cool. And that's really, we can't lose sight of what this technology is doing on the human, it has a human side.
Yep. Hey, so with that, and it's interesting, to see the rollout, because, we're starting to see a little bit of pushback from from different power entities within government. Well, at the same time, though, we have specific countries and we have banks that have been adopting digital asset, crypto, blockchain for a number of years. And actually, if we look to some of the top 13 banks that are in this space, and I think this is relevant because it kind of fits right into the narrative that we started talking about. And first and foremost, these are banks that have invested the most into crypto. And as we look at number one in this space, so let's scroll down here, which is, let's look at the list. So Standard Chartered has 380 million and 6 investments, and they are, one of their big investments is Ripple, through Standard Chartered. So I think it's interesting. BNY Mellon with $321 million in 5 investments. Now, for a bank, you could say, well, 321 million isn't that much. You know, you look at MicroStrategy with over $1 billion. You know, you look at Tesla with over $1 billion. But the banks, you know, the ones that seem to be giving a little bit of pushback, they're invested. And some of the big ones are invested. Citibank, 279 million. UBS, 266. BNP, 236. Morgan Stanley, 234. JP Morgan, 206. Goldman Sachs, MUFG, and Ing with 170 million. So, you know, I look at this, Chip. ING, all of them. You know, I look at all of them. I'm like, man, you know, these are the top 10. So that means there's other banks, but all that pushback, the narrative and this focus, we know there's been a lot of changes, you know, over the past year. We don't know how long these banks, we'd have to dig it up, probably could find it. But how important is it to see that banks are actually investing in cryptocurrency projects? They're, even though they're, from a financial overall, you know, perspective, with, you know, risk to investment, you know, they're dipping their, you know, maybe 1 foot in the water, maybe a little more than a big toe. They kind of got their foot, right? Just a little toe. They're just checking to see what the temperature of the water is, checking it out, but they're interested. They're not trying to, you know, constantly be in this confrontation mode. They're looking to figure out, is this for real? How do we get involved? Who do we support? And what happens when we do? You know, and to me, that's all telling. Ripple is at the epicenter, you know, at the very epicenter of all of this. XRP, the XRP digital asset, at the epicenter, primarily because it's the RippleNet solution right now, and many other solutions that are popping up that need to move money around the world, you know, and Ripple has been at the epicenter because people talk about it. Now we're seeing Stellar Foundation get into it. We're starting to see some others, but it's exciting, man. It's an exciting time to watch this develop. Tell you,
well, it doesn't take a genius. You're right, Jeff. It doesn't take a genius to think that the banks are going to be thinking that it's going to be the same as it always was. You know, I mean, because the internet didn't happen and nothing else happened. Nothing will ever change. Listen, they're not. They may be slow, but they're not stupid, and they certainly see that they're going to hedge some bets by taking a shot in not only letting some of their clientele or the banks, you know, being able to, you know, reach out to some of the high net worth, you know, investors, but they're also seeing that why not start investing the money? Why not take a chance? You know, what, they have nothing to lose. And look at this comment right here by Corey McCown, says, hey, can you guys merge the lemon trees? And then this right here, Jeff, this is interesting. So Ramrod says, hey, fiat leak is awesomeness. This is where you can see which country XRP is going to. Thank you for that. We should throw that up there right now. And let's, like, why don't we take a look at that live and see what's going on with that? Because that is pretty cool to sit there and watch it and see where it's going. It's a good visualization tool.
Let me
if you can
do a little search for XRP.
If you can get that puppy up there, right there.
Yeah, I'm trying to see where the
Alex Sheet wants to know, where's the bank's money?
It's a good one. Where is this is strange. Let me switch.
Hans Loaded says, hey, there's over 100 of you in here. You guys need to smash that thumbs up. Hey, very good advice, Hans. Really appreciate that.
That's right. That is right. There we go. All right, there we go. This works better. All right.
Before we do that, Jeff, I want to throw this up here. DJ Jarvis, thank you for the support. Banks want crypto to fail because it threatens their very existence, in my opinion. You're absolutely right. That's why you start betting on them, because you don't want to move yourself out of existence, right? You better to, and that's kind of what Jeff was saying. It's like they're taking little baby steps as they start moving along. But I think that's a good observation that they want it to fail, but that genie's not going back in the bottle, and it's already too late for that. So appreciate that. Let's look at the, there you go. There it's moving. There it's moving. So it looks like we've got some in North America. Looks like over there in Asia, Japan. There it is, flying around. You got to also going into Europe.
Korea, Europe, USD. Tons of it going in. This is a good thing. It's fun to watch this. ways to pull this up and kind of enjoy it. You know, it's it gets relaxing. You can just see these little XRP logo coins floating up into the world.
Yeah, at least it's the
Yeah.
XRP coin, not the Ripple logo. So that's all good.
Yeah, it's a good thing.
That's
Look
great.
at Korea though, man, lighting it up.
Look at that one bar. What is that right there? That big one going across there. Where's that? That was a massive. See it floating right by South America now. What does that say? It's hard to read.
184,000 XRP.
Oh, is that all? That's not a big deal.
Yeah, that's it.
That's a nice little. Which means it's roughly over. Which is roughly over close to $200,000 if you look at it that way. Somebody put out a tweet today and they said, you know, and this is at the time, it said, it now takes $11,400 US to buy 10,000 XRP. Remember when it was 17 cents? You know, it's funny. One of my friends called me up and he said, man, the market's flat. What's going on? I don't know what's happening. It's really discouraging. And I said, listen, man, you want my advice? He's like, yeah. I go, it's on sale. Load up your bags. What are you complaining about? I go, before you know it, it's going to pop and you're going to be like, man, I could have loaded. I said, you're going to double your money. You're triple your money. And you know what? Not even 2 weeks later, here it is. Because it hit like 51 or 52 cents, somewhere down there, 53. It bounced down there real quick. And now it's over $1.20 USD. So yeah, that's what it is. I mean, a lot of people, the funny part of it is that people buy on the way up. More people will probably buy at $1.50 than when it was 90 cents. That's just how it goes. They start to see it rise. They want to jump on the wave instead of understanding what's behind the technology and understanding why you would invest in you know, and not just XRP, but almost any coin that has a use case. Yeah, there's some coins that you just get into because, you know, it's a meme coin or it's the flavor of the week or the day. But the bottom line is use case drives it. And at some point, where's that? Where are we looking at right there now, Jeff?
That's Korea.
Korea's going crazy.
Somebody just bought one of these IRCs. Oh, look, get a little bit of Litecoin going on in there.
Well, it's early morning over there, right? So it's all, what, 11 hours? I think something like that.
Yeah, look at this. Look how crazy this is starting to look.
It's insane, man.
Look at that stellar.
Got a little Bitcoin going in there too.
Look at that. That's exciting.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. Yeah, so you have a whole bunch of stuff going in there. Look at this. Kelly says, FOMO, fear of missing out. That drives a lot of it all the time. It just drives it.
It's nice.
So crypto, this is a great question. Crypto Fitter says, how did you know? I didn't know. Just like that's how the market works. The market stays down for a period of time, and then at some point it goes back up. Now, that I think it was going to double this fast? Probably not. But the bottom line is, I'm not telling people like, man, it's in the dumps. I can't believe it. I go, well, that's one way to look at it. The better way, the way I choose to look at it is it's on sale. I go, you know, and you know who really understands that? My mom. When stuff's on sale, she goes crazy. She's like, oh, it's on sale. So I was over there today. She's like, can you pass me the newspaper? I'm like, why do you want me to pass? I go, the newspaper? What the hell is a newspaper? She goes, pass me the newspaper. Apparently, there's still newspapers, Jeff. I heard about these one day, but so I passed it to her. That's what I'm saying. It's a bunch of paper and it's nasty. And I was like, so I hand it to her and she rips out a coupon for me for a store that I go to. And she's like, here, if you spend more than $50, you get like $10 off. And I'm like, thanks, that's awesome. But again, if sales drive like buying actions, and I'm like, and meanwhile, when crypto goes low, people like, they back off like, oh no, I've made a tragic mistake. No. If you've done your homework, you've done your research, if you know why you invested in something, and even if you don't know why, the market tends to kind of move that way, Jeff. I mean, it's incredible.
Oh, wow. This is interesting. We have to dig in here. Somebody who recommended 3XRP. So 3XRP.dev. Check this out.
That's awesome. That one's great. That's the new version of it that they built.
Yeah. Look at this.
You'd spin the globe.
Yeah. Look at that excitement going on.
Yeah, I remember watching that on one of the Ripple. The guy, they had the developer that created this on I'm with Matt Hamilton. Matt Hamilton did a whole thing with this and talked about it. It's really incredible how you get to see it. I don't know, and that seems more real time too. I don't know if they, combine stuff, but
Come on, cool, Florida. Man. Come on, Florida. What's going on? Nothing's going on in Florida right now. They must all be watching on the chain.
Well, I think it just hits the central part of that because look at where it's hitting. It's hitting the.
Yeah.
Hard to say. Oscar says that's awesome.
This thing's cool, man. Look at this.
It's like 3 XRP, 1.75. Yeah, somebody else,
Korean won in there.
And somebody else tweeted, they said, the more wallets that's set up, you're really burning XRP. And I thought about it like, that's kind of an interesting way to look at it. You have all this XRP tied up in a wallet. They can't really be, you could close the wallet down, you'll burn 5 XRP and you'll be left with 15. But the fact that all those XRPs just tied up, it's almost like you're burning it in a way. So I thought that was kind of a really cool way to look at it. A very, very cool way.
I like it. I like it.
It's great stuff to see. It's visualization is really great when you can actually see it and see what people are doing. Hey, this is a tweet I want to talk about. This is one of our friends in Congress. This is none other than Patrick McHenry, and he says this is not the end. This is a public negotiation. If the Senate can't get it done, we'll fight it out in the House. Boom! Threw down, Jeff. What do you think about that statement?
Yeah, it's big. That's huge. He's basically saying, what happened at the Senate, shame on them. They didn't do it, but now let it come to the congressional level and they're going to figure it out. You got more people, more hands on it, and Congress overall has had more exposure to the crypto space, to blockchain. Now, if they were listening, then, there should be some more positive, responsiveness to what McHenry's saying. Now we'll see what happens because, now they've got to really bring the cards to the table. Plus there's a lot more at play. The Senate, presented a bill for infrastructure. Congress was getting ready to present a $3.5 trillion budget. With pack filled with all sorts of things they want. Here comes another 1.3 trillion total. It's a lot of money. It's almost excessive here. Coming in at around 5 trillion, and then crypto could tie up the whole thing again. It could slow all of it down. So let's see what happens.
Well, there's some interesting. No, the funny part about he talks about there's a preamble to all that. That was like the last one of a tweet storm that he put out there that was started back in August, kind of August 9th when this thing went over to the House. But this is the great thing, the nature of something starting in the Senate that has to go to the House. Sometimes bills start in the House, they go to the Senate. But the one that the main part of it is whoever gets it right. That's really big. But look at these comments right here. So you have Dan Perry says, thank you. I'm sure it's preaching to the choir, but they've shown the ability to effectively fight dirty, allies to the American people, and by extension, crypto. Need to plan for that in advance. Make sure you're ready. Thanks for being an advocate. So this is the kind of positive tweets you really want because they do read these. They don't read them all, but this kind of stuff they read. And I like this next comment too. It says, and if the House can't get it done, there's going to be a lot of congressmen and women looking for a new line of work. And that's exactly what gets
the biggest statement right there, Chip.
that'll get people fired up, Jeff. You can mess around, you can do this, that. If you touch our crypto, we're coming after you, man. We are coming after you. It's like, but not in a violent way, but just like, hey, we'll come and primary you. We'll find somebody that's pro crypto and put them in there. It's like that mayor, the new mayor that's running for New York. It's like he comes out and he's like, I'm all pro crypto. And it's like, okay, we know where you stand.
Prove it. Prove it.
Prove it. Let's put your money where your mouth is. You know what I mean? And look at this comment. Sometimes the comments are the best part. This guy says, imagine the student council getting together, publicly negotiating how they were going to keep the computer club, the chess club, the math club, the science club, blah, 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 debate team, all this in check, imposing and unable to comply requirements on their ability to transact and innovate, right? That kind of just like puts it down to a level, but that's exactly what it's like. it's a funny analogy, man. But man, I got to tell you, it's just nonstop. This one here, thanks for doing what you're doing. Thank you for being open-minded, not being a dinosaur, which I think that is alluding to the rest of the people in Congress. Although I love dinosaurs, don't get me wrong, but they're kind of closed-minded and old, you know?
And that's really what happens, Chip. You know, you think about it from a representation perspective. They're supposed to go up there and represent the constituency, the people. And they go over there and they're a little bit out of touch with their constituency. So they go up there, they hobnob, they, you know, bump shoulders with all these others that are doing the exact same thing. At some point, they all lose track of the fact that they're there to do the will of the people. And so when they lose track, nothing else matters to them, right? Because, you know, we've heard a number of them already come out and say, well, sometimes you win a vote, sometimes you lose a vote, and you keep moving forward. And I'm like, well, wait a minute. If you lose a vote, you should be pretty upset, and you shouldn't say, well, sometimes you lose it.
Right.
Because you're not voting on the same topic. You're voting on something else, you know? So whatever you lost, bring that back to the people. Say, hey, by the way, we lost this vote because of X, Y, Z, and let the people then decide and say, hey, I get it. You know, there's no way we could have won. Or, hey, you know what? Maybe you're out of touch with the reality and you no longer deserve to be in the seat up in Washington. As it comes to crypto, Chip, what I'm finding, and I brought this up the other day, the SEC, Congress, both the Senate and the House, and at large, because even the banks, but right now we're seeing, you know, a perfect, like, you know, focus. It's almost like it's zoomed in. The fact that the crypto space is stronger, more passionate, and more organized than any of them anticipated. And when it comes to the crypto space, this is a global phenomenon, but from a crypto perspective, it transcends all politics, right? Because people are passionate about investing in their future. They're passionate about investing in new technologies if they're building in the space, if they're a builder. If you're just investing for your future and you're excited about it, you're here to make money because you're investing in it. If you're building in it, you're also hoping to make money, but your passion is building and innovating. And all of the parties come together and you start to see how this space kind of unfolds and develops. And from a congressional perspective, or any of the, you know, organizations, they look and they're like, oh my God, the crypto space, the community is strong. And the way the crypto community is going to show their strength is go in and vote based on your passion. Because if you're passionate about this innovation and you want this innovation to continue, then you vote out, you vote your mind, forget about everything else, and you vote your mind based on what is best for our future gains, for our families, you know, for our future at large, knowing that this is one of the greatest technologies that has ever, you know, been presented in front of us next to the internet, in terms of, you know, where we are with computers. So I think that's what's going to happen. And people are going to be outspoken. They're going to go to their congressional representative. Where do you stand on crypto? Oh, yeah, that's right. You voted against it. You know, you voted to crush it. And now people are going to wake up. And so not only are they getting passionate about investing in their livelihood, because Chip, the one thing we've seen in crypto is that people, many have come to this space for the first time in their life, investing in something, right? They've never invested in stocks. So now guess what? The first time in their lives, they're going to research the political outcome of their vote. They're not going to vote because some ABC, CBS, whatever, all these, you know, media nonsense are telling them. They're not going to vote based because they see something on Twitter. They're going to vote because they understand. Just like they're getting to understand this financials, they're going to understand the political ramification.
Yeah, and Congress is is basically doing a proverbial rug pull, right? You just got into it, you're getting into crypto, you're educating yourself for the first time, and here comes along Congress with the big old rug pull. Here comes the SEC with the pull the rug right out from underneath you. They're talking about scams over here and scams over there. Meanwhile, there's some of the dumbest people on the planet because they haven't done the research and because they haven't talked to people that have done the research. They pull in some academic, which is sitting in front of a class for 25 years, spewing a bunch of la stuff. They're not in the real world. Get someone, pull someone innovator up, pull spend the bits and talk about exactly, hey, this is exactly use case. John Deaton featured, spend the bits that are real, demonstration of how you could send Bitcoin from point A to point B using the ledger. You can't do that. You can't do that with sending a regular Bitcoin transaction. To me, the whole thing, it starts to become pretty silly, Jeff. But again, this is what we're living in. But, we're not sitting back and nobody's sitting back. We're not back like, well, I guess that's how you win some, you lose some. No. People are having their voices heard. I wanted to, and this kind of plays into this a little bit here. I want to put this up. Now, Ferguson, he wrote this article. He said, we're living through a monetary revolution as profound as the one that swept away the remains of the gold standard. But there is a difference. My latest, and because I followed Judy Shelton said, well, why not both? That was like what she put. She just retweeted it and said, why not both? And then so I go to the Bloomberg opinion story here. It's a long one, but check out the headline. 50 years after going off gold, the dollar must go for crypto. So it's a pretty cool thing. So after President Nixon scrapped the Bretton Woods back in 1971, this is written obviously on the 50th anniversary of scrapping that Bretton Woods, the gold standard. The U.S. currency's exorbitant privilege only grew because the U.S. embraced innovation, not regulation. That right there says it all. The U.S. embraced innovation, not regulation, except for one problem, Jeff. There seems to be a lot of embracing of regulation and squashing the innovation part of it, right? So it's a very long article, so I wanted to just kind of like go through here. There's some decent stuff in here. He says among the standard bearers of the backlash against crypto is Hong Song Shin, who I once shared a staircase when we were students at the same Oxford College. In the latest BIS annual report, Shin denounces cryptocurrencies as speculative assets rather than money, used to facilitate money laundering, right? The same old tired sort of thing we hear from pretty much everybody in government. It's all bad. Meanwhile, the biggest offenders are the banks laundering money, and ransomware attacks and dismissing Bitcoin, stable coins, argues the central banks must instead expedite the adoption and issuance of their own digital currencies, followed by China's lead. And then let me get a little bit further down here. And it says, perhaps the most startling illustration of this new mood was the speech given by Gensler, obviously chairman of the SEC Commission at the Aspen Strategy Forum. He said, primarily crypto assets provide digital, scarce vehicles for speculative investment. Thus, in that sense, one can say they're highly speculative stores of value. We also haven't seen crypto used much as a medium of exchange. Just absolutely asinine, Jeff. To the extent to which if it's used as such, it's often to skirt our laws with report. I mean, listen, they get in there. Here's a guy who, came from MIT. He formerly a FinCEN, right? Another headed up another regulation body. They get in there. They get taken to the woodshed. They read them the Riot Act and said, this is how you're going to operate. And these are the things you're going to say. Now go read the speech. Crypto is bad. Crypto is money laundering. It's a arbitrary store of value. It's risky. It's this, right? And you know what the funny thing is? No one's buying it. It says right now we don't have enough investor protection in crypto. Well, no shit, Sherlock. My God. I mean, what planet is this guy living on? Frankly, it's more like the Wild West. Yeah, we know that, Mr. Gensler. Gensler went on to argue that pretty much everything that moves in the world of crypto is certainly an unregistered security. Likewise, I mean, it just gets so asinine. But you know what the best part of it is? They're losing the narrative. They're losing the war. And guess what? Ultimately, in the end, we win because we're not going to put up with it. Talks about the overblown claims from Senator Elizabeth Warren, warning about shadowy supercoders. I mean, what is a shadowy supercoder, Jeff? These these
I don't know, but
hackers.
typically they're in a basement.
And then right here it says, yeah, exactly. Well, that's part of it. It said the right response came from Senator Ted Cruz, who proposed striking all of the crypto language, as no more than 5 senators can answer what the hell a cryptocurrency even was. That will still go down as a highlight of 2021, in my opinion. He said the barest exercise of prudence would say that we shouldn't regulate something we don't even understand. Why should we actually take the time to understand it, right? No committee hearings, no hauling people in, no talking to real people. No, you know what they do? They bring no-name academics in there, and they, what do you think? Well, I think, you know. And by the way, who was a nut job academic? Gary Gensler. Jeff, did you know he was at MIT?
No, really? Did he teach there, or is he just?
No one really knows if he was even there. He did one thing, right? So look at this. I agree, and I also agree with venture investor Adam Cochran, one of the many crypto bros commenting on these developments, that there is no greater way to risk supremacy of the US dollar than by introducing anti-crypto legislation. The risk of cryptocurrency replacing the sovereignty of the US dollar is not that people will start to denote everything in Bitcoin, it's that the industry will set up shop elsewhere and will use that currency. And there you have it, really in a nutshell. That sums it all up of exactly why they fear it so much. And then you can't take bad actors out, right? Look what's happening in Afghanistan. It just fell. And meanwhile, the president's like on vacation. Nobody even knows where he is. Like, I actually saw a news article.
It's such a shame. It's such a
serious
shame.
news article. It said he's going to comment on the next few days. Oh, okay. Well, geez, take your time. You know, I mean, any other world crises will happen then? Yeah, okay, sure, not a problem. And then
there's a crisis on every corner right now. Before you continue, I just wanted to kind of bring up this point, and I think it's really interesting because, you know, we bring up and we're referencing the gold standard. You know, so if you think about the gold standard, you know, backing up fiat, a number of years ago when I first got into the digital asset space, and I first started making videos, I wrote an entire video on the fact that crypto could become the gold standard for fiat currency. And I remember I went to a couple of Bitcoin meetups and realized that that wasn't a place for me to be, you know, when I started talking about other digital assets. And one of the things I told them, you know, I believe that there's, you know, one coin, one use. You know, so meaning that, you know, every token kind of has a use case, and it's built within projects that are using it for a specific purpose, and that not every asset is good for everything. And we've referenced it here on the show as well. From their perspective, obviously, like most Bitcoin maxis, Bitcoin is the end all be all to everything. But then I also reference this idea of there being a gold standard switch, meaning that fiat becomes backed by cryptocurrency. Right now we have stable coins backed by fiat, but why? You know, at the end of the day, what's the purpose? So if you have something that is, you know, finite like Bitcoin, you know, Bitcoin being a perfect store of value as it's identified right now, why not have fiat backed by Bitcoin at some point? You know, when you have a value, just like fiat backed by gold. You know, I mean, if you start thinking about it from those perspectives, it's really interesting. But I was just, as you were talking, I was going back and trying to pull up an article I wrote, and all I could find was something from January of 2019, where I talked about one coin, one use, referencing XRP, you know, moving money, XLM moving money, but more in the retail space, XRP in the B2B space, and Bitcoin focused as a store of value, but overall trying to understand and identify, you know, how it could be that you could have fiat backed by cryptocurrency, and completely flipping the narrative on its head. And to me, that's interesting. It's an interesting direction that we're moving in, and who knows? You know, who knows what'll happen? Van Life Biker saying backed by gold is better. Bitcoin's not sustainable. Maybe, you know, maybe not. I don't know. You know, I mean, it's interesting to see gold, but at the same time, you don't even know if For the same reason we look at Tether and say, hey, Tether, what are you backed on? And they're like, oh, all sorts of stuff. Well, that doesn't fly. Well, how about gold? Who's determining the purity of that gold? Who's to say? The Roman Empire went through where they had silver coins, and those silver coins ended up not being silver anymore. And then you have massive inflation. Why not have the exact same thing happen then with gold? We don't know. Who's testing it? Who's going in and auditing your gold reserves to say, hey, it's all legit? But if it's Bitcoin or another denomination, whatever it is, how do you make that determination? I don't know. I mean, that's for smarter minds to figure out, but just something I was thinking about.
No, I mean, I think it's a great point. James Rule XRP, and if you guys don't know, if you're first time here, if you don't know James Rule, awesome YouTuber, has a channel. He was also on with John Deaton, which talked about this very use case right here, which is he's saying, have an XRP drink on me, guys. The reason he's saying that is because he's given us a super chat, which thank you very much, James, but it is powered by XRP. That's why he's saying, have an XRP drink on me. This is using his XRP, his Uphold card, using from his XRP account, boom, and it's sending it. So it's demonstrating right here live that he's sending an XRP in the form, obviously saying drink, but this is what's amazing. So there's no way in hell so what we just talked about, Gary Gensler saying that it was a, speculative and blah, blah, blah. And I want to go into this here because I love this statement right here. The winners of my boyhood have become the bloated incumbents of my middle age. The innovative energy has passed to the crypto bros, that's us, leaving the established banks and their friends in Washington scrambling to make the barriers to competition even higher. If cryptocurrency is indeed the internet of money, then we're still at quite an early stage of its development. Restrictive regulation of the mid-1990s might have strangled in its infancy the commercialization of the World Wide Web, better known as the internet. Restrictive regulation of crypto could turn out to be a very, very expensive mistake. What a beautiful statement right here, Jeff. What are your thoughts?
I like it. I like, looking at just that end part, restrictive regulation in the mid-90s might have strangled in its infancy the commercialization of the World Wide Web. And it definitely would have. Go back and look at some of these interviews with Jeff Bezos, with Amazon. Look at how people mocked him and laughed at him and said, you'll never sell books online. That's it. You're never going to succeed. This is ridiculous. What kind of valuation are you going to have in books? Right. And Jeff Bezos at the time was focused on building out his space. But there were so many other players, leading up to it. And the 90s went through a crazy period of time. If anything had a .com, it got money in the early years. How great would it have been to build something, pets.com? Think about how much money they had. There were so many other projects like that. And then there was the ups and the downs. And the 2000 was a major, major down for so many companies because it began to weed out those that were real and those that weren't, those that had substance and those that didn't. Unfortunately, many of those companies that might have had substance also disappeared. They got caught up with it, but they weren't crushed by uncontrolled regulatory burdens that didn't make any sense. And so there was the powers that be said, hey, look at this amazing space. Let's see how we can push it and see how it can develop. But let's be careful because people are throwing all sorts of money at it. People are losing significant amounts of money. But think about during that boom, how many people were multimillionaires, how many times over on paper, but had no money in their pocket, and so we're going through a similar period right now, except you have certain powers that are prevalent right now that didn't exist in the 90s to the extent that they do. And they're just hell-bent on destroying, this innovation, which it just makes no sense whether they're doing it, for just cause in their mind, or they're just doing it because whatever, but I like that statement, Cheb. I think it's really spot on. It's critical. It's really
yeah, and
important.
again, every once in a while, you hit an article that just gets it so right. And here's another one right here. I want to talk about this. It says, I feel in my bones I'm trying to compete with China to build the best central bank digital currency as a mugs game. The American way is to let innovation rip, let it go. Arvigo Garg of Electric Capital is right in thinking that the best strategy to preserve the dominance of the dollar is precisely to encourage the international adoption of the dollar-linked stablecoins rather than to stamp them out. As the internet of money grows, the dollar is well placed to be the preferred global on and off ramp, connecting the nascent metaverse to the physical world where we still pay our taxes in fiat. If we've learned nothing else from the past half century, it surely is that the best way to win a race with totalitarian say that, Jeff. Totalitarian rivals is not to copy them, but to out-innovate them, make the wrong decisions at this historic turning point, and we'll be interrupting a much bigger bonanza than Nixon did. Man, what a big! And by the way, he's talking about our gang of Electric Capital. This is who he's talking about right here. This is Electric Capital. He's the co-founder, and then you have over here. It's the future. Build the future of programmable money. Our approach: we invest in company, liquid tokens, illiquid tokens based on innovative technology, market adoption, and what is this, Jeff? Real use cases. We perform deep tech diligence. So this is a company to invest. And you just look at some of the people that they're investing in. There's Bison Trails, there's Definity, right? I mean, there's Kraken. I mean, a lot of names you just see there and you recognize. They're investing in the space. This is one of the companies that totally gets what's happening.
That's it.
So anyway, what a beautiful.
that went out. Okay.
I dropped it in there, by the way. I dropped it in the chat just because I thought it was really good. Hey, Jeff, there's a question here. Jeff, what's the name of the program that you're using that showed where people are buying crypto from different countries? You want to drop that in there?
I just put it in there already.
Oh, you did? Okay.
So there were two of them, fiatleak.com and 3xrp.dev.
Yeah, so throw both of those in there. Those are really cool to be able to check them out. Yeah, 3xrp.dev. That's a nice one.
That was really cool.
Yeah, it's really cool. And guys, I just want to remind everybody once again, look, if you're first time here, like Jeff said in the very beginning, it really does help us a lot if you click that notification bell, because as YouTube algorithm will also suggest to more people as well, which is fantastic. And that's a really great thing. So guys, please go ahead and like, subscribe, and then click that little notification bell right there. That really helps out.
Actually, when you hit the bell notifier, make sure you click all.
Yeah,
and it really, and I think it really will make an impact too, because if we imagine right now we have about 20% of our 20% plus that have hit that bell notifier. Now, obviously, if we have more hit, that means that every time we post it 30 minutes prior to our go live, you get a notification that goes out, kind of gives you jogs your memory, even though, we stream live Sunday through Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and every Saturday morning at 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Doing that definitely helps. So many people say, hey, how can you help us out? That's one huge way you guys can help us out. And as always, Chip, our comments in here, our subscribers are by far the smartest in all of crypto YouTube history. I'll tell you that.
YouTube history, Jeff. That's profound right there. I mean,
all of YouTube history.
That's not even messing around.
Put it out there.
That is not even messing around whatsoever, man. That's like good stuff. And also, too, I'll tell you guys, too, you guys can follow us. You can follow us on Twitter. You basically just go to @OnTheChain. It has a underscore below it, which is pretty easy to do, and I will drop that in the comments. So guys, go follow us out on Twitter too. It's another way you can do it.
I like that, Anthony. Stream a few hours earlier. It's a pretty bad time for people in the UK and most of the EU. 1 a.m. is a tough live stream to get every night, and we know that, but what's amazing is that we have people all over the world that tune in. So we target, the US, we've got East Coast to West Coast, we've got Asia, and we've got Europe, but we got lots of people in Europe that are tuning in at 1 a.m., 2 a.m., 3 a.m. We appreciate you guys, and we know how hard it is to stay up late at night. And we do have that Saturday morning at 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So that's the one time that we are able to get that out there. But you guys are awesome over there in the UK. And Henry is over in Belgium. We've got people all over. We've got Tokyo Sander over in Tokyo. So it's outstanding. We got, people even over here in Florida, tuning in at the regular time. So
I wish we could do it too, but the thing is, Jeff and I both have families and stuff, and usually during the week, we're grinding, doing our thing, and calls and conferences and all that kind of stuff. And so we'd like to do it earlier. Believe me, we'd like to do it earlier, but it's the time we actually can sit down and do it. Otherwise, we're kind of running and gunning all day. But yeah, if we could. But that's one of the great things about Jeff doing the Saturday show, is that it's like 1 p.m. for you guys, which is just an hour afternoon, which is not a bad thing either. So you guys always can tune into that. That's actually usually the least attended. Why? Because it's super early in the morning in the States, but we also do it because it's the one time a week where, but I get it. You're busy. So you guys are busy during your Saturday. So I gotta sit there and watch the live stream, but thank you for tuning in.
Right. That's when we wanted to come in.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you for tuning in at night, man.
Chip, did someone say cassettes?
The usual, sir. Please.
With that,
There
Chip.
you go.
With that, hey, tomorrow's another night. Tomorrow is Monday. Don't know where this week went. Looking forward to tomorrow night, Chip, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Hopefully you're ready for that.
Yeah, we'll be ready, man. We'll be back with a bunch of new stories. We'll focus on a lot of the positive stuff that's happening in cryptocurrency, mass adoption. Come join us tomorrow night. Go click that bell notifier, and a little menu pops up, and you got to go stretch up and click all. So do that. We'll be back with a bunch of new stories, a bunch of new fun, bunch of new comments. Guys, thank you for the support. Really appreciate you guys. Really appreciate the support from everybody tonight, for the super chats, but also the comments and showing up here, especially when it's like 1 a.m., man. Now it's 2 a.m. So that's all I have, Jeff. Anything else?
That's it, man. And we'll see you guys
on the next one. Have a good one.
We're out.
Are you down with OTC? Please like, subscribe, and click the bell to be notified when the next video drops.